for the foundation that you have left for us, a legacy for us to build on. We thank you for this opportunity to gather as a community as we think about and reflect on the history and also what we can do moving forward to bring this world together, to create spaces of inclusivity and belonging. We thank you for how you have touched all of us to be here today. We ask you to be with Michael as he presents and shares information with us today. Allow us to gather, take in this information, but to do something with it and to share it broadly. We thank you for this organization that has put this event together. We thank you for the food that we have already begun to eat. We ask you to bless the nourishment of our bodies. We thank you for all things. We love you. We praise you. It's in Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. All right, just housekeeping before we get started. If you haven't grabbed lunch, please do so. It's on my left, and then our restrooms are to my left as well down the hallway. So now to get started, I want to introduce you to Michael Hughes. He's a native of Danville. He graduated from Danville High School. He's the co-founder and president director of the Danville County African American Historical Society and co-author of the book African Americans in Bull County. So, Michael, it's very nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to try to, I didn't know which end, but I think I'm going to go from this end. Welcome. My name is Michael Hughes. We started the Danville County African American Historical Society about 10 years ago. We are in our 10th year, but we actually started prior to that. As you see in some of the photos, the main thing I was trying for 3 weeks, I've been trying to figure out how to tell a story in an hour for 10 years of research. It's going to be hard, so I'm going to try it. So I got something I want to do here. Well, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to pass this photo around to everybody as we're talking. And at the end, about the last 15 minutes, we'll have some questions. But I'm going to start at this table. And we'll give these folks, and I want you to pass it to the next table and all the way around until we get it back up here. And at the end of our discussion, I'll show you what I believe is the importance of this picture. We started, when I say I didn't know exactly how I was going to get 10 years of research in an hour's time, so I just thought out what I would do to tell you how we got started. I was raised in Danville, which was a separated city. There was black Danville, there was white Danville. Most black folks did not communicate. There was no interaction other than in sports. But until the late 70s, when basketball, Danville High, basketball, football, everything was engaged. But how I started hanging on 2nd Street. Now, 2nd Street, you can see here, I'll pick this picture up. This is the photo of the African American Business District, which is now Constitution Square Park. Back in the day, black folks they could not dine in the restaurants. They could not really shop in some of the things. So they created their own district where they would go shop, socialize, and everything. So as a young man, I wanted to be part of 2nd Street. But to get in on 2nd Street was a rite of passage. The pool room. The pool room on 2nd Street named Hill's Pool Room. I wanted to get in that pool room so bad, but I knew my mom, and when you get in the pool room, you had to have a sign. My mother didn't want to sign when you get in the pool room because they were church people. They weren't going to. So what I did, the pool room was there on 2nd Street. It was run by a gentleman named Mr. Fields. So I would stand in front of the food room like I was, like, you know, cool, like I was hanging out, but I really wasn't. So Mr. Fields was a guy, had these beer eyes, and sat in a big chair inside the food room. And so I would step up on the little stoop he had, and I look in the food room. He had a chair, he sat right here. And he looked around at everybody that came in to the food room. So I said, I need to get in this food room. Because everybody in the food room was having a good time, you know, and I wanted to be cool like that, you know. So I stepped up on the stoop, and Mr. Fields looked at me, and I jumped back out the door. 2 weeks later, I tried it again, you know. So I stepped back and I said, I'm going in this food room. He's just going to have to put me out. So I stepped in the door of the food room, standing there shaking, looking around. Mr. Fields looked around at me and said, boy, who's your parents? I was saying, I'm trembling. I said, sir, Robert and Scotty Hughes is my parents. He said, come on in here, boy, you my damn cousin. So that's how I got in the food room. I was cool then. 2 weeks later, I was bringing my boys in, you know. So then I got to, you know, hang out on Second Street. Once you was in, you could kind of do what you want to. I didn't go up. There's another food room up the street called Eli Food Room, run by the Richmond brothers. It was an older guy than that. Eventually, I got to there. But that one thing got me in on the food room. So a lot of, like I'm saying, I'm trying to jump here. Now this picture here I want to show you. Most of y'all can see this picture, right? This picture was taken on 2nd Street in 1939. And this was the renovation, this was to celebrate the renovation of the Ethan McDowell House. I'm sure most of y'all know the story of the Ethan McDowell House. So these guys, so when I first got this picture, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was I saw these guys sitting on the street, on 2nd Street. So what was going on was that they was watching the crowd. It was about 200 well-dressed white folks that came to the renovation, or to the celebration of the renovation of the Ethan McDowell House. Now, the significance of this picture, this was about 30 years before urban renewal. But if you look at this picture and you look in the face of these people, you can see, because they'd never seen that many people, especially white folks on the street at that time. This is what they were looking at. And a lot of people, we was able to get up, as you see up in the corner here, the sign says green. That sign is saying green. That was one of the restaurants that was on 2nd Street, but at that time, I didn't know that. All I knew was Miss Mamie Davis. She told me when I first started, she said, Michael, I used to work on 2nd Street. I used to work in a restaurant called Green Pasture. I'd never heard of Green Pasture. Nobody had mentioned Green Pasture in all the interviews we had done. But when we seen this on the window in that photo, and another photo told us what the Green Pasture was. Green Pasture was a restaurant, one of the few restaurants, when you did the research, and there was about 10, 12 restaurants that existed on 2nd Street over time. And that is what black people, this is where they went to eat, dine. My first experience of seeing the action on 2nd Street was when we used to, my grandfather used to bring us, let us go to the movies right down the street. And he'd tell us when we get out of the movie, to go around 2nd Street. He had his car parked on 2nd Street. And he would go in a restaurant that was run by Miss Emma Turner. Miss Emma Turner was known for her coney dog. Now, when you think about everybody can make coney dogs, coney dogs is nothing but a hot dog. but it was about the sauce she made. That sauce that she made is so renowned that people still talk about the Coney dog today. So my grandfather would go inside. He said, I'm going in here and get you guys some Coney dogs, and I'll be back. Hour and a half later, and come back with the Coney dogs. You know, that's how popular restaurants and things were on 7th Street. You know, so that's what we had. But then, see, urban renewal came through. Urban renewal came through, and it destroyed a culture. It took away the entrepreneurship of the black folks, and today, they still feel the effects of it. Because there is not any, very few retail, if any. But they came with the promise that they were going to rebuild those buildings, renovate those buildings, sell them back to the black folks so they could have a business. But it never happened. They sold it to the state. They sold it to the county. County created Constitution Square Park. Now, it's a nice park. It's a nice park. But urban renewal came with the promise. They promised neighborhoods. They bought out neighborhoods. They bought out 2nd Street. They bought that. And it killed the whole culture. Killed the neighborhood. It killed neighborhoods was like, if you lived on that end of the street, and somebody lived on this end of the other end of the street, they could come outside, holler for you, and you probably answer the door. Or if you went to somebody's house, you knocked on the door, they didn't look out the window. They didn't bring a shotgun and see who was coming to the door and worry about it. They just say, come on in. And that's the culture that you cannot get that back. Once it's gone, it's get back. That's why those neighborhoods are so important. And when they were taken away with the promise that they would rebuild those neighborhoods, they didn't get rebuilt. And it destroyed the culture of the African American life in Denver. Now the church survived. Churches are strong, and they survived, and that was something that it couldn't take away. Now I'm skipping back, but I want to get in 3 or 4 subjects. I want to talk about the swimming pool. The swimming pool that used to be down in Bakewood Home, built in 1960. It opened in 1960. Mr. Glenn Gray here was one of the lifeguards, so no one was there. You see in the picture that one of the reasons that the pool was built was so black folks would have, I want you to hear what I just said. One of the reasons that the pool was built so black folks would have a place to swim, because they could not swim in none of the pools that was available. That should never have been anyway. We should never have to build a pool that was set. But it was built, and it made a difference. On opening day, there were 650 people that came to see those. You'll see it in the picture. But it wasn't maintained. It lasted about 6 or 7 years. It was great, but it wasn't maintained. Finally, I'm going to say 1975 approximately, because me and 3 or 4 other people were sitting on the rock fence. Now, I'll get to what the rock fence was in a little bit. We're sitting on the rock fence, and we heard a scream coming from Bakewood Home. And the mother was running over to the pool. Where the pool was not maintained, there was a gap in the pool. The young kid went in, tried to dive in the water, get the basketball, hit his head on Kroger basket. I said Kroger, on shot basket, and he died. That's finally when they closed the pool. But it was good. But it was bad also. You understand what I'm saying?